ready to continue with the evidence in the case. Mr. Sheffield.
We were talking earlier about the video, and you were helping us kind of understand what you were looking at,
Yes,
what
sir.
you were interpreting in the video. I just wanted to make sure that I understood a couple of points from that. You guys have just- okay. Starting here right at around 2:08:25 is when we see Mr. Arbery come into the frame.
Yes, sir.
And what we understand about this is that he's walking,
Based on his gait, yes, sir.
okay? He's walking up to 220 Satilla Shores, the house under construction,
Yes, sir.
and now he's standing in the yard with his hands on his hips, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay? He's looking around, and then he goes into the house.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in a minute, we're going to see Matt Albenzi come up into the frame. And is it your understanding, there we see Mr. Arbery now walking into the larger garage. Do you see where he does that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. In a minute, we're going to see Matt Albenzi come up here at the top of the screen. And he's going to kind of make an appearance there between those two trees. And that's where he makes his phone call to 911. That's what you understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when he does that, he is literally standing right in front of 220 Satilla Shores.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you ever go and speak with Mr. Albenzi?
Yes, sir.
You did. And so from Mr. Albenzi, you have learned kind of that he was there to make this 911 call, that he had spotted Mr. Arbery come up to the house when he was in his yard chipping wood. Is that right?
I don't recall what he was doing as far as the referencing chipping wood.
Objection, this calls for hearsay. Mr. Albenzi has not testified yet, so what you've learned from your interview with him at this point in time would be hearsay.
Well, I won't offer for the truth, Your Honor, just to inform this officer as he's moving through his investigation. And
Objection,
making
that workaround
decisions.
hearsay is not a workaround hearsay, it's hearsay.
It's still
No.
here, so I understand Mr. Albenzi, though, will be available as a witness.
Yes, Judge.
Okay, well, it's sustained, but let's move forward. Go ahead.
well, I'm not offering it for the truth, so it's not hearsay. So I'm not sure if you're allowing me to proceed under that umbrella. Okay, very good. Okay, thanks. So as we're seeing the video, essentially, let me get the one with the house numbers on. 220 Satilla Shores is located right here. Do you see that?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay. And essentially, 220 Satilla Shores comes to the intersection of Jones Road and Satilla Shores. You see that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Now that we got the house number down, let me go to the bigger map. And what we understand, what you understand, is that Mr. Albenzi lives down here on Jones Road, and he simply walked down to the corner of Jones and Satilla,
Yes, sir.
where 220 Satilla is located.
Yes, sir.
Okay, coming down Jones to Satilla, okay? And that's where he stands and makes his phone call to 911.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, in a moment, we're going to see Mr. Arbery run out of the house. Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in a moment, what we're going to see is that Mr. Albenzi is actually going to come further out into the street in front of 220 Satilla,
Yes, sir.
right? And then, as we see him now, he's going to walk down the street towards Greg McMichael's home,
Yes, sir.
which is further up Satilla Drive. So if 220's here, you know it goes by twos, so 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so he's walking from in front of 220 up into the direction of Greg McMichael's house.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Walking in this direction towards 230. And when he does that, and we see it through another video, Mr. Diego's video that you were able to collect, when he comes up closer to 230, he goes like this.
Yes, sir.
See when he does that?
Yes, sir.
Kind of indicating that way.
Yes, sir.
And you understand, do you not, that he was communicating to Greg McMichael?
Objection calls for speculation as to what anyone was doing. And for this officer to speculate that Mr. Albense is communicating to anyone, speculation is the objection. Relevancy is also the objection.
The speculation, it would be, he was told it, so he wouldn't have to speculate about it, and it's relevant because it's a communicative signal to Greg McMichael, who he interviewed about what he did that day and why he did it.
Objection. Counsel's testifying, Your Honor.
I'm not.
It's sustained. We've got Mr. McMichael's testimony on what he thought happened.
Right.
So, it's sustained.
Okay.
You're asking this witness to speculate on it.
Okay. Greg McMichael told you that he observed Albense?
I don't recall that. Do you have a page for? Do you have a page
No,
for
I'm
this
just
one?
asking you.
No, sir, I don't recall
I
that.
don't recall that. Okay, that's fair. All right, let me move to another area lastly. We talked briefly, and I'm gonna get just back on track with it. One of the things that you said about this data system that collects calls is that a person will call in with a problem, and that will get a call label.
Yes, sir.
One of those call labels is suspicious person,
Yes, sir.
okay? And a suspicious person label can really mean a lot of things in
Yes,
your
sir.
experience.
Yes, sir.
If a homeowner is calling about a suspicious person, that could be somebody who's on their property, a trespasser, right?
Yes, sir.
Or somebody that they're concerned about where they are and what they're doing, essentially.
Yes, sir.
Whether that turns into a break-in or a burglary or an assault or whatever it turns into later, a lot of things begin with suspicious persons.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you attempt to determine the number of those types of calls for Satilla Shores at any point in time?
I'm sorry.